This story of yours from Sitapur to Tokyo to Bangalore.
Born in a village, we were very poor people. We used to get Holi and Diwali one set of clothes. एक थान से सबके शर्ट करते थे. Didn't have enough money to subscribe to those days. Tutorial used to be there, and then pressure of the parents and the community and everybody कि oh ये तो कुछ करेगा. But मुझे नहीं पता मैं क्या करूँगा. Everybody was happy with ITI. IIT and all तो मतलब
out of the reach लगता था.
Out of the dream था.
Out of the dream था.
Dream भी नहीं था. और of course I was really nervous कि भी कुछ करना है. And of course given that we used to live in village, BSc was in Lucknow, I used to do the up and down every day by train. It was tough life, very tough life. I almost didn't sleep for 2 years. I was I think number 1 or number 2 in the Lucknow University for BSc. Same time I got into IIT. I had my own pressure which I had created because you have to have some pressure. There was a lot of sense of shame. नहीं होगा तो फिर कुछ नहीं होगा. अभी तो बच्चे बोलेंगे ठीक है ये नहीं होगा तो वो कर लेंगे. There is no oh that time. But I got into the leadership thing. So I became mess in charge in my hostel. Became hostel president.
Wow.
And that's where I think I realized that okay, doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter how competent or capable other people are there. If you have desire and if you really work for it, you can lead people who are maybe much superior to you in terms of their intellect and their upbringing or whatever it is. Yes, you also can. Third year and all that कि US में सब जाते हैं नौकरी भी शायद नहीं मिलेगी कुछ अलग करना है. And I said I need to go to Japan. I did business in Japan. Great experience. I became very famous actually. I would say life just takes on a path if you seek. So my advice to young people would be that you please choose your path.
Welcome to Office Tales and People podcast. Today we have RK Misra, investor and co-founder of Yulu Bikes, and he's more than what I'm going to explain right now. And I would like all of you to hear from RK.
Hi.
Welcome to our OTP podcast.
Yeah.
I have Priyanka with me, my co-host.
Welcome to the podcast.
We want to know this story of yours from Sitapur to Tokyo to Bangalore, and that's where we want to start. Whatever you want to share with us, we would love to hear.
So it's been a interesting journey, I must say. I always tell from there to here. It's been a long, arduous, but very satisfying, I would say, and happy journey so far. I think the story of maybe many of us who were born in a rural part of country. I was born in a village in Sitapur district, adjoining Lucknow district, but very, I mean, UP, you go 10 kilometers outside Lucknow, you see the real rural setting and of course poverty. So we're also, not well-to-do, or maybe I would say, yeah, from lower middle class agriculture family in a village, and father was in a government job. So early days went to the village school, and as I grew, we moved to the nearby town. So I think the difference in my case was my mother. She was educated. She had masters in sociology.
In those days?
Those days. She was from a town, or the district headquarter, and
in UP?
In UP, only a place called Barabanki, adjoining district. And that I think was the differentiator. And I was keen on education, and she was very sure that without education there is no future. And that I think pushed us to move out of the village, went to the nearby town. But again, it was as good as it comes because, the town quality of education and everything was
compromised.
There, of course, I moved when I was in 6th or 7th grade. And UP board, you have board exams at 10th grade.
Yeah.
And I was pretty good from the standard of from the standard of the school. So I got first class, which is pretty good in case of UP board, but barely managed, and which of course raised everybody's expectation. In fact, not only my family, whole town's expectation was raised that here is one boy potentially who
Misra ji ka beta.
Misra ji ka beta, who will do something. And then from there onwards, of course, I think I lived, under the huge expectations of my parents first, and people around us, our neighbors, and village. Somehow everybody thought that I'm different and I could do better things in life, which also put, I think, positive reinforcement or little pressure to perform. And I think that led to doing well. And then, of course, school was as it was. So 12th, I didn't do that well. And then the reality dawned upon that what next? You need to get a job. What job you will get? You can become engineer, doctor, or maybe teacher, or nobody. Because everybody else was becoming nobody. They were just going and doing something
Into the
in farming and all
yeah,
that.
exactly.
And somehow it's just a very scary thought for me, which should have been obvious to everybody because everybody else was doing, and there was nothing much to do in farming. We were very poor people, hardly any land holding. So it's not that we were some jamidars or anything. Barely, you could get enough ration to feed yourself. We used to get twice a year, Holi and Diwali, one set of clothes, correct? And given that it was a joint family, all 8-10 of cousins will be, dressed in the same. We used to call it khaddar. Ek than se sabke shirt karte the. So this was very not that. I mean, people may think that it was tough or sad. No, it was very exciting childhood because you are happy with what you have.
Right.
And you don't know anything else.
Correct. And so it was fantastic childhood, loving and caring family, and everything else was okay. But then when I was in 12th, and I was pretty clued in. I used to read newspapers. I used to read these competition magazines and realize what the world is all about. But then I realized I'm not ready for it because with that quality of education, and it was really scary. And then pressure of the parents
and
the community.
community and everybody कि oh ये तो कुछ करेगा, but मुझे नहीं पता मैं क्या करूँगा. So that was quite, I think, challenging time, and given that I wasn't prepared for doing competitive exams of IITs and all that. And
First of all, I want to know, how did you learn about IIT? Being from that a part of the country, how did you learn about IIT?
True. Because as I said, I used to read this competition magazine. There used to be some magazine those days, GK magazine.
Yeah.
General knowledge magazine and things like that. So we got to know that, but everybody else in the town did not understand IIT. They thought it's ITI.
Okay.
And for them, getting into ITI was a big deal. So, but then, from there to IIT was a journey, and I was, as I said, I didn't do too well in my 12th grade, and didn't have enough money to subscribe to those days. Tutorial used to be there, Brilliant and, Agrawal and all that. Couldn't afford that either. So then, of course, I say, okay, fine, then enroll in BSc. While you're preparing for that's exactly, it's like time pass.
Yes.
Go to BSc while you prepare for IIT or whatever. IIT was a dream. We never thought it will happen. Idea was कि यूपी में engineering colleges हैं, उसमें हो जाएगा, मोतीलाल नेहरू या ये सुल्तानपुर और कुछ. Well, that would have been amazing because everybody was happy with ITI. IIT and all तो मतलब
Out of the reach लगता था.
but out of the dream था.
Out of the dream था.
Dream भी नहीं था कि IIT में हो जाएगा. But while I doing BSc and all that, of course I was really nervous कि भी कुछ करना है. And of course, given that we used to live in village, BSc was in Lucknow, I used to do the up and down every day by train. And it was tough life, very tough life. And then managed to scrape some, money to stay in Lucknow. Couldn't afford anything. Staying in a room which was next to a drain. The situation was so bad, it may all seem like what you see that movies,
that 11th Fail or what is that movie?
But it was
Something
really,
so similar to that.
bad. It was really bad. But then just to be able to live in Lucknow, which means you save 4 hours of commute.
Absolutely.
And with whatever little parents could afford. So then I think I really worked very hard. I almost didn't sleep for 2 years. Used to sleep at 4 o'clock and then get up at 8 o'clock or something like that. And I managed to top my college in BSc first year. Then everybody said, "Hey, first year you topped, then why not finish second year also?"
Yeah.
So while we was doing this preparation for
IIT?
engineering in general
Okay.
was going on, and so when I did again. I was, I think, number 1 or number 2 in the Lucknow University for BSc. Same time I got into IIT. But that was
How did that happen? How did IIT happen? Any specific reason that happened?
I think in BSc I got very good teachers.
Okay.
And UP board doesn't prepare you for IIT. The syllabus is very different. But when I got into BSc, I did almost everything what IIT needs. Of course, some here and there was different, but I did a little bit more also.
Okay.
And I worked really hard for that. So not whatever I did in UP board, but what I did in
BSc.
In the BSc,
yeah.
and I did PCM. That helped me. And also it was good for me because I was underage in my high school.
Okay.
I was in UP minimum age was 14 years for 10th grade.
Okay.
Now it is everybody 16 years because it started at 6.
Yeah.
I was not even 14 when I did my 10th exam.
Your 10th, yeah.
So by the time I finished my 12th, I was only 16.
Wow. That's
So
2
this-
years early.
Because I was good, so in UP you can jump classes. From 1st to 5th, I jumped twice.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Oh
So
my God.
from 1st I went to 3rd, and from 3rd I went to 5th.
Wow.
So now we
What 2 years supposedly I lost in BSc, actually everybody else who went to IIT was almost similar age. Here, I mean, some were few year, 1 or 2 year here and there. So from that point of view, I think it worked out. But the irony of this was that town was elated. The newspaper, the results used to come in the newspaper. Newspaper used to come by a train, which used to come in the evening. And that day, newspaper didn't come in the train.
Oh my God.
We were all waiting at the station, and the train came and went, no newspaper. We were not sure. And I mean, at least 20, 30 people were there waiting for it. Whole town was excited. But it came by some bus.
Wow.
And when it came, we had already come home.
Oh.
Then the newspaper wala called that paper has come, and I had already given him my number.
Oh.
So he checked.
Oh.
So he said,
You'd given the roll number to the paper wala.
Yeah.
Wow.
When he left.
so when we left, I said, ये है कि अगर आ जाए तो बता देना. Phone तो था नहीं. So he came running. And he started shouting from,
From a distance.
outside.
Yeah.
कि मिठाई खिलाइए and all that.
Wow, wow, wow.
And then there was a whole celebration in Big Town and all that. So, but I think that changed my, destiny and, course of life. Because I think after that it was all left to me. Because if I did well, IIT is a breakthrough which, if you get it, I think. So I'm very grateful to God Almighty that all us stars aligned.
Yeah.
And after that, Tokyo happened, and after that, you also decided to come back.
Yeah.
That story is still left. But before you start that story, there is a very important question coming into my mind, which I want you to address. Is a lot of engineers are going through extreme mental health, and they go through extreme stress. And today's world is very different from the times you were studying in IITs or even as an engineer. Is there any advice for you, from you to all the new young janta of India who's studying either engineering or any other competitive exam or that kind of education, that they can handle their stress without losing hope and not taking the path of going for suicide? And so many suicides happen every year, because you have come from that journey, and also something which was absolutely, I would say, in such tough circumstances that not many would be able to survive. What advice will you give to such?
I think, as I said, while preparing for IIT, or not IIT per se, but engineering, and coming from that background, one, of course, I was under extreme pressure of expectations.
Yes.
So I had created boundaries and pressure for myself. But then I also was very sure that once I clear this, my path is going to be,
And you never felt like giving up?
giving up se kya hoga? And I actually at that time did not really worry about outcome because I had applied for, all those UP engineering colleges, Then I had applied for IIT, applied for that time ISM Dhanbad, Roorkee, TS Rajendra, which used to be the Navy. Every possible thing I had applied. कि कहीं ना कहीं तो हो जाएगा.
कुछ तो मिल ही जाएगा.
कुछ तो मिल जाएगा. Because I had no option but to try
Make
for
it
something.
happen.
Correct.
Yeah, make
Otherwise,
it
what
happen.
else you'll do? Correct.
But a lot of youth today doesn't think like that.
Yeah.
That, ki I don't have an option. They just think, oh, I need to give up now. Like,
No, I think, again, I think the important part was that we had a very loving family.
Yeah.
They're always there with you. And communication was much better. Nowadays, in today's time, communication, because of, I think, distractions, parents' schedule, and I think today
Digital.
kids don't want to be told.
Yeah.
Kids feel that they have their own privacy and
Yes.
personal life. Our time, the concept of privacy and personal life and all was not
It was
there.
not there. Absolutely.
And again, I was though only 16, 17, but I felt I was an adult. And by the way, my father and mother could not guide me at all because mother was educated, but she didn't know any of this.
yeah.
Father wasn't even educated that much. He was basically, for them, it was like, listen, tell me how much money you need and somehow we'll figure it out.
Yes.
We'll cut something here, cut something there, or if required, we'll put some jewelry,
Yeah.
to pawn, it'll get you money.
But the path you have to figure out. The journey
But
and your own
and
path.
again, we expect you to do the best.
Yeah.
And for them, the best was also very different because they said, engineer ban jayega.
Yeah.
क्या इंजीनियर बनेगा कैसे इंजीनियर बनेगा वो नहीं
नहीं
था
पता.
तो आई थिंक इट वाज बोथ फ्रॉम द पेरेंट्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू दैट दे हैड देयर एक्सपेक्टेशंस ऑन मी बट that was not expectation which really kind of created unbearable situation for me. But at the same time, I had my own pressure which I had created because you have to have some pressure.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're not. I mean, what will keep you going for 2 years without thinking, without doing anything, just getting up in the morning, working, studying, and this. And I was also doing, BSc. You have to go to college. I used to go around 10-15 kilometers cycling. Didn't have money. Just tried to keep myself a little bit nutrition by drinking some milk and banana. So I think I was driven. Yeah, I need to do this. If I don't do this, and I don't know why I was driven because none of my cousins were driven. They didn't do much. So somehow I think it was intrinsic, and I think But yeah, never had any thoughts of. Of course, there was a lot of sense of shame if I don't succeed. There'll be a problem because I'll let down so
Your
many
parents and so many other people.
And nervousness because नहीं होगा तो फिर कुछ नहीं होगा. अभी तो बच्चे बोले कि ठीक है ये नहीं होगा तो वो कर लेंगे. There is no O that time.
Yeah, it was farming.
So only that either you do this
Or
or
you
you're
go back
nobody.
to, yeah.
So doctor, engineer, maybe
Or a
teacher,
nobody.
or teacher maybe.
Or teacher, yeah.
But उसके अलावा कोई job ही नहीं था. So I think it was a very. So my advice to young people would be that you please choose your path. And your parents are your friends.
Yes.
And they only think best, but not really they know what you are thinking. Because their best may be putting undue pressure on you. So you speak up.
Speak it out, yeah.
Speak it out. Tell them what, I mean, I have a 27-year-old son.
Yeah.
And, I have 2 kids I have. One is 21, one is 27. And only thing I've told them, listen, my job is to provide. I'll give you whatever you need. Ultimately, and I never gave them suggestion. I said, I'll give you options. I'll explain to you, if you do this,
This is what
will happen. If you do this, this will happen. If you do, this will happen.
You choose.
You choose, and now you have enough information. But make informed choice and stick to it. That's your choice. Then you will, even if you succeed or fail, it'll be your choice.
Yeah.
And you'll own it.
Yes, absolutely.
That's how it is.
So you went to Tokyo and then you came back to India. A little bit about that.
No, before that, I think IIT journey in IIT was also very instrumental. Because for me, I was like strange monkey in a different zoo kind of situation because I was a villager, didn't know how to speak English, and most of the people who went to IIT usually came from well-educated background.
Backgrounds, yeah.
Some of them, also affluent, but that wasn't this thing. But everybody came from some background, went to some English medium school, primarily from bigger towns. Nobody came from villages. So obviously my mannerism, my
Everything was different.
language skills, and everything was very different. I was like, UP bhaiya who hasn't seen anything, and of course, especially then, of course, you feel conscious, and you also go through a lot of self-imposed. Do I fit here? And also, there are some interesting characters who will make sure they keep reminding you
That you don't
That
fit
you
in.
don't fit in.
here.
Yeah.
And antidote to that was, listen, it's very easy to get intimidated, very easy to get disheartened, but let me prove them wrong. So, of course, my English was not good. IIT takes exam to check your English proficiency, and then you are given special classes for that.
Okay.
So I was given that. There also there is a higher level, lower level. I got into lower. But I think then I said, okay, fine. I need to make sure myself presentable. That was one on personal side. Luckily, because my ranking was pretty high, and I could have chosen any engineering, electrical, computers I would have not got because IIT Kanpur computer was very high. Top 50 you have to be, but I was 200 something. I could have got electrical, mechanical, anything, but I chose civil because father believed that only real engineer is civil because he knew only PWD engineers.
Right.
And everybody else, he said, Arey, he's Raja
Yeah.
of the area. And electrical was kind of, electrician banna hai kya types. And mechanical also was like, so I think, but in civil, most of the people, I think competition was not that tough.
Okay.
So there again, I kind of did very well in my among my engineering peers. So that way, pressure of initially 2 years, everybody's together. Whole batch is together. And then after that, you go into your branch. So first 2 years was tough because you're competing with the best and the brightest.
Yeah.
And our computer science guys were crazy. They were like top 50 all India rank, and those guys were like God's gift. But then best way is to make friends with them.
Yeah.
So one of
Learn
my
from them.
wingmate was this thing, and he kind of helped. So we did that. But then I said, yeah, I need to show. So that's where I got into the leadership thing. The first we had a pathetic food in our mess. So I became mess in charge in my hostel. Improved the quality of food, became very popular. Became hostel president.
Wow.
Then I did a great job there and all this spruced up my hostel and everything. Then I became the president of the student union.
Wow.
And that's where I think I realized that, okay, doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter how competent or capable other people are there. If you have desire and if you really work for it, you can lead people. You can lead people who are maybe much superior to you in terms of their intellect and their upbringing or whatever it is, but yes, you also can. So I think it's always been an upward journey for me. And from where I started, I couldn't have gone down anyway. The only way was up. So I think from that point of view, IIT was an amazing experience. It gave me the confidence. Of course, it gave me the platform because once you go to IIT, you know that you'll make something out of your life. But not everybody from IIT ends up doing, everybody from IIT is not doing great from that point of view. It all depends upon what you do in life. And I kind of said, okay, here is my ticket and I better use it. So that's how it is.
So why didn't you choose to go to US? I mean, usually IIT, the path is going to the USA and
And you
doing something
chose
there.
Japan over US. What is that story?
So, I mean, I was also a little crazy because I had a huge this patriotism thing going on in me. IIT Kanpur is, every IIT is supported by one country.
Yeah.
Kanpur is US.
US.
And all our seniors were there.
Yeah.
In our times, almost 70 to 90% people went abroad.
Yeah.
Out of that, 100% went to US. Nobody went anywhere else. And US, you just do the GRE, apply, you'll get somewhere, depending upon how good your academics is and things like that. So it was a pretty well-known path. But for me, 89 is when I graduated. That was the peak of Japan as an economy. If you go through that, is golden, called bubble economy of Japan. Japan was almost having, Americans were worried that Japan will take over. Sony was buying, Columbia Pictures, Rockefeller Center. It was like, US was in recession. Reagan has just come. Internet has not started. It was really, really bad time. And 89 was a very tumultuous year because, Berlin Wall came. I mean, like, world was in turmoil. And the only place where you saw the prosperity, hope, and everything was Japan.
Yeah.
Out of top 10 banks, 9 were Japanese. Only one bank, Citibank, was in the top 10.
Right.
I said, this country, which was bombed in 1944, tiny nation with no resources. Now, how I got to know all of that? Because I had interest, so I read about it.
Yeah.
And look at us. We are 1947.
47, yeah, independence.
We got
And where are we?
independence. I understand British destroyed us for 250 years, but after that also we had 50 years.
Yes.
What have we done after that? And how Japanese are doing so well. And somehow I felt, oh, they are also Asian, we are also, naivety, correct? They're like us. Of course, they're nowhere like us.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, let's figure it out. And that I got to know in like third year and all that कि US में सब जाते हैं, नौकरी भी शायद नहीं मिलेगी. US की हालत ये है और कुछ अलग करना है. Then I started looking around. So there was one professor. Another thing, since civil engineering I got into, I did not like civil engineering. I wanted to become a manager.
I see.
So I don't think I was cut out for being an engineer.
He was a leader from right in the beginning.
Well, manager I wanted. I didn't know leader part, but manager I wanted. So I said to manager, now you're an engineer, how do you go? So there was one professor who came from Canada to IIT, and he was taking management courses, Japanese style of management.
Okay.
So Kaizen, Kanban, all that.
All of those quality.
And in IIT Kanpur, at least you're allowed to take humanities courses. So I always took psychology and management.
Oh, nice.
I thought अगर manager बनना है,
Great
So psychology.
so you have to you deal with people.
People, yeah.
And some management.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, the path out of
engineering is,
to the extent possible, is this.
yes.
So I went and took all his classes, and I really did well. And I said, I need to go to Japan. And I said, when I apply, also I'll tell them that I've done this, I have interest in your country. And then I spoke to my professor. He said, no, the Japan doesn't have any system like GRE and all that. He had been to Tokyo University. So I said, well, how do I go? He said, oh, they run a special program, which is run by their Ministry of Education in Tokyo University, where they take 20-odd kids from 20 countries, one from each country, so-called internationalization of Japan. Program is in English, but it's like lottery, one person from one country. So you apply. So I applied, found out how to do it and sent letters to them. There were no email or internet those days. I got a reply. I wrote a very nice letter. I told, see why my interest in Japan, you are doing so well. Full history I wrote, and they would have thought he was this crazy guy. I also told what courses I took, and I wrote all the story and all that, and they kind of offered me.
Wow.
So I got
big lottery that.
big lottery, and
Yeah.
of course, US scholarship I got was $800. They here gave $1,800. So it's
Nice.
very
Wow.
good.
Nice.
Business class ticket,
Oh, lovely.
accommodation
Full lottery,
provided.
the full lottery.
I mean, it's like we were the guest of the Japanese government almost.
Right, yeah.
And their agenda was also very clear. It wasn't, education was a means. They were thinking ki now we are becoming so global in our economic sphere, but they were getting pushback from everywhere. Because the US has put Super 301 restrictions on them. So they also wanted some well-wishers. So when I asked, when we landed there, Minister gave a welcome speech to us. And what he said, you are best and brightest of your country. We chose you. If you had not come to Japan anyway, you would have done something well in your country or otherwise. But we brought you here so that we can open our hearts and our country to you. You learn about us. We are not so well understood. Then when you go back to your country, so very clear, you have to go back to your country. Then you please tell what Japan is.
Right.
So essentially, they are creating their own cultural and business ambassadors.
Yes.
They're very clear. Japanese are very long-term thinking.
Yeah.
And I
Creating
think they're very smart
opportunities,
because
yeah.
till yesterday also, I had one Japanese government delegation coming here, and I continue to do a lot with Japan, India-Japan relationship. I have done so much, work on that. So I think that was, I would say, life just takes on a path. If you seek, you don't know where you'll reach, but at every step, path will open up. Correct? You remove one bush here,
Open
one branch
door,
here,
yeah.
something will open. So that's what happened to me. I had no clue what will happen. I ended up in Japan. I was shocked. Nobody spoke Japanese, English. The girl at the airport, when I landed to find about how to take my bus to the city, ran away. I was wondering, my God, how rude. But she ran away to find somebody who could speak English.
Okay.
And I said, yeah, this is an interesting country. And I almost came back because I was feeling so homesick. I used to make these crying calls to family. I wrote like letters so that I was preparing to come back. Luckily, my scholarship didn't come first month.
So you didn't have the money to go back?
Didn't have money to buy the ticket.
Oh my God.
Imagine if I had bought the ticket, I'll be back in India. Don't know what I'll do, but certainly I'll not be doing what I'm doing today. So I think destiny. And then I kind of, got adjusted, got huge love and care from people there, very caring people. I was unwell, I was well taken care. Then I said, yeah, this is a good country. I need to learn about it. And I learned language. Most of my classmates were not bothered. I learned language. I spoke, I think, better than all of them. And I got involved and things like that. So it was a truly amazing journey in Japan. And Tokyo University is there, next to God, they consider Tokyo University is so good because almost every bureaucrat, politician, CEO comes from there. So there also I got exposure and, view to the side of Japan, which usually you don't get. It was truly amazing journey.
So since you've spent such lovely time in Japan, culturally, what is it that one thing that has stayed with you and sort of become part of you and your DNA, which you carry even today and, work with it?
Quite a few things, actually. I think when you go, especially at that tender age, what you learn and see, if you're willing to, that becomes you.
Yeah.
For me, this concept of orderliness, I cannot see even in my home or at workplace things which are not in order. So processes, orderliness, perfection,
Quality.
and hard work. It's very difficult for me to accept that you are on a job and you're not giving your best.
Right.
That concept does not really resonate with me. For me, then why are you doing the job? And many times I kind of get this little bit of, this is my third or fourth company, whatever, and all that. People are not, for them, okay, if I'm on a job, I'm being paid, why do I do more than minimum? Kyun kare? My thing is that if you're only stuck at minimum, your life will also be minimum.
Right.
और तुम्हें अपने बारे में भी क्या potential है? You will never be able to learn that.
Absolutely, because first of all, you don't know what you're capable of. If you just come, कि भाई I'm getting X, I'll deliver only Y. क्यों try करना है?
क्यों ज़्यादा करना है?
क्यों ज़्यादा करना है? First thing, you are first cheating yourself. It's not that you're cheating the company.
Yeah.
Because they will fire you or they'll suffer you.
And also you're losing an opportunity to learn, no, from the company.
Exactly.
By doing extra is when you learn.
So that's one. That's why you see in Japan also what I learned is a very horizontal society. There are very few people. I would say 0.1% or even less who are very rich.
Okay.
And there are very few people, almost nobody who's poor. So that's only society in the world. Everybody says that, oh, I've been to 200 countries. I've seen the world. I know what Japan is unlike any other country. A very unique culture. Not that everything is perfect about it, but then there are certain things, and it's for you to choose
Right.
what you want to imbibe. Everywhere you go, there'll be some things which you. But for me, Japan was essentially their patriotism. Okay, a Japanese always a Japanese, by the way. Their ethics, work ethics, timeliness. I mean, if many of you know, you can check your watch by Shinkansen
Yes.
bullet train time. Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, and the processes. You go for a meeting, you will reach, if you are going for a meeting to an office, you will reach 5 minutes before. And you will be seated with your back towards the door.
Okay. Why is that?
So that you don't get disturbed by the people of the company walking behind or coming in.
I see. So it's all that thought through.
Yes.
As to how.
And you will sit on one line because you are the guest. The
Right.
host will reach exactly at the time. You will reach 5 minutes before.
Okay.
He'll reach exactly at the time. And he'll enter from behind you so that you are not disturbed.
Right.
He'll go and sit ahead of you,
On the opposite side.
opposite side.
Okay.
And the host will be in one lane, you'll be in another lane of the table.
Right.
They will give you the business cards. You have to receive the business card, you have to look at it as if you're showing interest, which essentially means you're learning who the person is. And then there are 4 people there, your business cards have to be aligned in the same order as they are sitting.
I see.
So that you don't confuse,
Interesting.
you don't call Suzuki Ito or, Mitsubishi or something like that.
Right.
So these are the kind of, it's all process. It's been thought through.
It's been
so
thought
there's
through.
no chance of making mistakes.
Right.
So if you're process oriented and purpose driven,
Right.
the outcome is going to be good. So if an engineer is there all his life, he's happy to be an engineer as long as he keep improving things. That's
That
why
process, yeah.
every time you see a Japanese thing, which is better than the last time.
Yes.
Correct? So they call continuous improvement. They
Correct.
do not believe that you can ever reach perfection.
Excel. Yeah. Yeah.
Correct? And just on time. I just give an example.
Yes.
From how the coffee will become, how the cup will be placed. So that kind of perfection was, I learned at that age. That became me. That became my DNA. Am I able to practice 100% of this year? No. But then at even 80%, I'm almost
Much better than
much
the
better
others.
than
Most of the Indians.
most of the people here. So I think, people will say, hey, kya karna hai itna sab? But see, I felt that was a very unique thing for me.
Absolutely.
And I think those are the kind of things I took back from
Learned
Japan. And of
and-
course, I continue to engage with Japan. Now I'm at a different level. I'm working with the governments of the 2 countries to bring them together, investments, this, that, and all that. So for me, it has been a very, very, very rewarding journey.
Okay. So, RK, I think now we want to ask you something very interesting that after Japan, you came to India. How has your journey been when you came to India? And of course, I also have a follow-up question, which is that I want to know what triggered your thought of taking retirement at 40 and working during those years. Did you do a back calculation? And if you did, what was it like?
So it's very interesting because, majority of people don't come back.
Yeah.
Especially when I went, I don't think any of my friends came back. But most of them went to US. And US, there is a path
Yes.
to staying there.
Yeah.
You have a green card, then you have citizenship and things like that. Japan had none of it. And of course, minister was very clear when we reached that you are here to learn and earn. Then go back and
Be our ambassador.
be our ambassadors. And so that was very clear. So Japan did not have a career path for you. I realized because I went to the top universities, so getting job was not an issue. I chose the company and I got in. I had a fantastic time. But when I had 3 years almost completing, and I kind of think now, beyond this what? Correct? In my company, which was one of the largest company, and I was the only foreigner. Japan was not geared as a country to, have a Even till today, yesterday also I met somebody. The ministry wants 50,000 engineers from India. And they are struggling to give 500. Because, people in India also have other opportunities, within India and outside India. And going to a country where
It'll be tough to
it'll be
adjust.
tough to adjust. Lateral career progression is not there, and all that will be difficult. So it was, and our time was like 35 years ago, and very bad. So from that point of view, obviously coming to India was a choice, which wasn't something which you really have many other options either. But many of my friends stood back. Some married Japanese. Some decided to do something. Some went to a Japanese company and ended up going to their own countries and things like that. So I could have chosen one of those paths. But then while I was in third year, I said, this country potentially not going to be a permanent. If I have to do something, I have to be an entrepreneur. I don't get a job, but Japan was not geared for entrepreneurship either. I did become entrepreneur nonetheless. I was moonlighting. I started a company which used to import trailer homes from US.
Right.
And that because Japan was so expensive, then land was so expensive, nobody had land to build the house. So I said, I'll get the trailer homes, which is on the wheels, which you can attach to your car. So winter you go to mountains and summer you go to the beach.
Wow.
That's how I kind of invested. So whatever saving I had made and invested all that saving. Went to US. There's a story how I got my visa to the US because when I went for visa, the guy was surprised. How come this not even a Japanese guy wanting to go to US to do business? And that time US and Japan were having trade war.
Yeah.
They said, why you want to go to US? I said, I'm going to do this business. I'm going to bring these trailer homes, which are very expensive. He said, seriously? I said, yes. I said, look, these guys are dumping cars in your country and you guys are having trade war. I'm trying to bring import from your country
Something
to this
from you.
country.
This country.
He said, you're crazy, but I like crazy. Here it is. And he gave me 5-year visa.
Wow.
And first time I land in the US, and of course Japanese are very quality conscious, so I just couldn't bring any trailer home.
Yeah.
I went to South Bend, Indiana, one Amish community. They used to make most beautiful, crafted trailer homes.
Yes.
Went there, drove on the wrong direction, almost got killed because Japan is left-hand drive.
Yeah.
And US is on the
Right-hand
right
drive,
hand.
and so all that, adventure. And finally, I did business in Japan, and I ran that business. Used to work in my company, daytime and hired people there.
Wow.
Finally, of course, that business wasn't something which, flourished. I managed to exit out of that business. That was my first exit. Didn't make much money, but it was a great experience.
Yeah, of course, I'm sure.
And in a foreign land,
Being able to make
being
that
able to
happen.
do so. I
And
was
being an entrepreneur in Japan.
in Japan, and I became very famous actually.
Yeah.
Because Japanese newspapers will write about me telling Americans, see, you are saying Japan is a closed economy. Look at this guy. He is importing from your country, which is not even supposed to be imported.
Yeah.
And you saying, well, Americans will ask me to come and give a talk to their businessmen in American Chamber of Commerce. How to do business in Japan. So this was a very
Amazing.
so all these experiences gave me confidence. Okay, listen,
कि मैं कुछ भी कर सकता हूँ.
IIT mein I was nobody, and I ended up fighting elections and things like that, and winning. And then here I am in Japan. I am doing a business from America to Japan as an Indian. I mean, that means if you really try, things can happen.
Yeah.
So after I kind of sold that, I was like, it has to be done. Then of course.
And then you came back to India.
Yeah, that's also a journey. I wanted to come back, but I want to come back not as an employee of something, because I've already been an entrepreneur. So that time I got to know about one, through a friend, that a Japanese businessman is trying to set up software center in India. Software center outside Japan. He had already been to China. He was also wanting to evaluate India, but he did not know anybody here.
Right.
I told him, no, China, India. Because for me, the
I'll help
reason
Everything should be in India.
reason I went to Japan was to understand how Japanese are doing so well, so I can do for my country.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I said, no, Suzuki-san, no, you're not going to China. You know Chinese and Japan, afterwards you're going to be in trouble. Go to India. But Misra-san, I don't know anybody, so I organized his trip. He came here, he went to Noida, I think. Gurgaon was not there that time. Mumbai and Bangalore. And he liked Bangalore.
Wow.
He said, yes, we'll do it. Then he said, okay, please help me find a CEO. So I introduced few Indians, 4-5 Indians who were there who were doing R&D
Good,
and
yeah,
research
yeah.
and things like that. He went and met everybody. But then he kind of, after 1 month, calls me. He said, okay, let's go for lunch. I thought maybe I have helped him, so he wants to also,
Return the favor back.
return the favor by taking me out to lunch. And he says, I said, have you found it? Yeah, finalized. Who's the guy? Oh, have lunch. We had lunch, we went for ice cream and this and all. And then I said, okay. I said, now you tell me. He says, you.
Oh.
And the work was telecom software.
Oh.
I
And
am
you
like
knew
civil
nothing?
engineer.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't know ABCD of how telephone works.
Yeah.
I could not write a single line of code.
Yeah.
I said,
How
no,
will
no,
you
no.
do it?
He said, no, you can hire engineers and coders. I'm looking for a leader. I said, really? He said, yes. I said, boss, I'm going to run a company, not a country.
Yeah.
You need, he said, no, I know. You have done what you have done in Japan. You have drive, you have desire, and you have smarts. He used Japanese words for this. You're young, you're dynamic, and you see how the risk you took. You can do it. Well, for me also, I didn't have any better option. Then I told him that I want to have my own company. Here I'll be your
Yeah.
employee. He said, don't worry. In few years, you might even own this. Maybe you can buy Indian operations. So that's how I came to India.
Interesting.
So I had a captive business and a salary.
Wow.
So I was an entrepreneur, kind of entrepreneur.
Who's
But it's
getting paid initially?
still stable business. So that's how I came to India. And of course, I worked and grew that business. And then I ended up buying
The India operations as well.
operations.
Awesome.
Awesome. That is so interesting.
It's really good. So, what I want to know from you is, you worked in Japan and you've gone to the US. So, you've worked across countries and across people of different generations, right? From yours to now when you're working with startups, you have even Gen Zs, right? In your area of work. So, I want your advice, what is the advice you would give to leaders on how to manage multi-generational workforce?
I think problem is not with the others. I find if you are open, you'll be approachable.
Right.
So here in this office also, if you talk to everybody, general impression you will get about me, and I talk to people, he said, sir, doesn't matter what preparation I come with in the meetings, we never have answer to your questions.
I've had a boss like that.
Yeah. So I said, he said, listen, your questions are
Out of syllabus.
Out of syllabus, because I said, yes, that's my value that's why I don't come to office every day.
Yes.
I am outside in, because you guys have more knowledge about the
Insights.
things which you do on a daily basis. But I look at the impact it will have
On the
Overall.
outside.
overall, or what
What
overall
is going
environmental
on?
impact on you. So those are the kind of things, and which is not expected of you to know at this stage.
Right.
But as you grow, you should also be start thinking about
Like
it.
that.
Just writing a fantastic code is great. But what fantastic code does to the people who are going to use it.
Yeah, you should know about that.
So that, I think, the value add
Value add. So you're saying approachable?
First, we have to be first. I think I'm considered a very scary, kind of, not scary in that sense, because generally people are little bit
Nervous to ask.
nervous to talk to me, maybe just because of the gray hair or whatever it is.
I'm not.
Well, yes, some people
You're
are not.
Shikha.
You're Shikha. And also, I think, given they know about my background and whatever it is I do, so I think. But then everybody, I have seen youngest of the people come and reach out to me initially very nervous and some even shaking and all that, and then they go and oh, it was so nice.
It was so easy.
So easy. So I think, but you also cannot put up a face, because if you're not genuine, people will not come to you.
Yes.
Because frankly speaking, you may have all the knowledge, but how many are willing to take knowledge from you? So
Yeah.
you have to be approachable. Again, sometimes you have to come down to
Their level.
they not level, I would say, ki, you have to put yourself in their context. They might be asking something which you need to explain to them in that context. Then you take them up.
Right.
Instead of just giving
Just starting
them a
from the top level, then you say, okay,
36,000.
fine.
They will not understand.
Neither they'll understand nor they will be able to appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah.
But if you take them through this journey,
Right.
which is time consuming, so don't have like, so my
Impatience to just
Yeah.
quickly.
and my sessions, if at all, whosoever reaches out, whatever meeting, are 20, 30 minutes.
Give them time. Yeah.
And you have to make them comfortable. And also they need to understand, they have to respect you. Just because you have a position in the company or just you are the founder and all, nobody respects you.
Right.
They have to respect you for who you are, what you have done, and what you can give them. Because there are amazing people in the world, but they don't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
So if anybody is reaching out to you, that's the biggest gift, by the way. People think they become arrogant. No. In fact, you are lucky that people
Are reaching out to you to
reaching out
ask.
to you, and it's a privilege.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which means that you're adding value. They're
Adding value.
They're
They
seeing
see
that
the
you're going to
value.
add value.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So never have this air that, oh, I know everything. First of all, you don't know everything.
Yeah.
Because
Nobody
I
does.
always-
Nobody does.
I always start with, and those kids, younger people, engineers, managers, they are much more knowledgeable than what they do.
In what they
So
do. Yeah.
don't really try to go and tell them I know more than you than what they know. You add value to it, and then they'll be more receptive. So
So you haven't answered my previous question, which is, how did you come to this thought of taking retirement at 40? And did you do a back calculation for that? And
How did you
it
plan for
happen?
it? Yeah.
like how
So
did
I
that
think early on I realized the value of money, because I never had money. So I was very, very clear that, and I had this deep desire to make a change. That's why I chose to go to, and never wanted to stay abroad.
Right.
I wanted to do something for the country. But then to give something, you have to have something.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct?
Right.
Now, if I want to do something which is not money making for me and I don't have money, I mean, mind will not be at peace.
Yes.
So I was very clear I need to make money first.
Yes.
I need to make myself financially secure, which luckily, because I've been an entrepreneur, I kind of had a feeling that, okay, I should be able to do it. Second thing was very important. When I was like, when I came back to India, I was just 30. And like by 32, 33, I knew that it will go somewhere. And I was also kind of person who was not happy with the status quo. I helped invite the Japanese Prime Minister to Bangalore. Usually every Prime Minister will go to Delhi.
Delhi. Yeah.
I worked really hard. Japanese Prime Minister Mori came to Bangalore. We almost made a road for him.
Wow.
From Indiranagar to Koramangala, that road was followed. I got involved into, because I said, I have to showcase my country.
Yeah.
And he had to go to Infosys. And he planted a tree there, which is still there and all that.
Right.
So from that time onwards, I was like, I need to showcase my country to the best and brightest in the world, influential people in the world. Early days when we used to go with the government delegation from Karnataka to sell Bangalore as IT destination. Because how many IT companies were there in Bangalore? I came in 95 and nobody used to come. And then of course Infosys and Wipro and all were there. So I was one of those, and I was working on the product development in telecom field. So it was almost like today's AI, you know. So it was a hot,
Topic at
company from that point of view, and very well respected. I was dealing with the all telecom big companies, NTT, NEC in Japan, Lucent, Nokia, Ericsson, AT&T. So I was like considered a high tech, one or two other people. So all of us were like a small group. So till today we have those friendships with all these founders of these, Infosys, Wipro and everybody. And we all had this mission with Mr. S.M. Krishna, who was our chief minister. We have to promote India. We have to promote Bangalore. Many people knew Delhi. Surprisingly, a lot of people knew Calcutta also,
Acha.
because of Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
And whatever filth and mess, they were all very excited about that part. But when you go till Bangalore, first, where is Bangalore?
Yeah.
Some companies had vague idea where India is. So starting from those days, going and telling, but how come you guys know software? Then we have to go and tell our story, our Aryabhatta and all that. We are so amazing in math, so we do it. I mean, it was like sales pitch.
Yes.
And Texas Instrument has already come. So we told about that story, see how they chose Bangalore and this and all that. And then slowly, so there was a desire to do something larger than just earning money. And I want to do it full time. To do full time, you cannot be running a company and job and doing this. So I said, okay, fine.
The money matter had to be taken care
Correct,
of first.
That,
you know.
and I
that's
also said,
That's why early retirement.
that's why
Wow.
that's why I said, here, and I somehow believe in this Indian concept of 4 ashramas, correct? Brahmacharya, correct? Which is education. I say that, you get education. And I said, I'm going to live, say, till 80, divide by 4. So 20, 40, 60, 80. So Brahmacharya means education till 20.
Right.
The Grahast, 20 to 40. So learn, earn,
Yeah.
share,
Yeah.
give.
Wow. Nice.
So I said 40 is fantastic age. And I started telling myself and to everybody around me so that I don't cheat myself. Every day, I'm retiring in 40.
And now people tell this on social media, like so that they don't cheat themselves. Like,
Okay.
oh, I've started working out. Here is my first day of working out.
Whatever.
Like that.
Yeah, so I used to tell everybody, no, I'm going to retire at 40. Because I really wanted to reinforce to myself
Yes.
and work towards it. I mean, in the hindsight, if I knew how much money I will need to live decently, I don't think I would have retired. Because many people today ask me how much you need to retire. I said,
Yes.
no, I don't think you'll have enough ever.
Yeah.
You need to have desire. And desire has to be very, you cannot say, okay, I'll retire and play golf. Because very soon you'll get bored. Golf is great, I also play.
Yes.
But that can't be your, life.
Right.
So you have to have some purpose which will keep you engaged.
Post that retirement that you planned. Yeah.
Because a lot of my friends, they came out, then went back, and now they are more miserable. Because they don't know. They so know that working also they don't like, retirement also they didn't like. So you have to have that passion.
So you're saying you have to pre-plan for the retirement and then plan the life after that as well and find that purpose.
Absolutely.
That will keep you going.
But I wanted to change our country. Do you think?
Yeah.
That's not very difficult job, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
So you may wanting to do public policy, but then I was not a bureaucrat.
Right.
I was not an IAS. I was not a politician. So how do you do it? Nobody's willing to take. You may be having great ideas. Try getting pothole fixed in front of your house.
No, absolutely, yeah.
So I think I was very naive, I must say. But I was so happy that I was naive. If I knew what it takes, I would have never retired.
Not done it.
So RK, I have the next question for you, which is, आपने जापान में भी काम किया है, आपने इंडिया में भी काम किया है. Is there any difference in the way Japanese treat women at workplace versus India treats women at workplace?
Yes, huge difference. Unfortunately, in Japan, there is an unwritten rule that used to be, and I think continues to be, that women primarily have their place after a few years of working as a homemaker.
I see.
That's the expectation. That has been traditional. It's a warrior kind of culture. So their belief is that okay, and of course, given that it's a very well-to-do country and everything else, everybody gets educated. No discrimination there. Everybody gets job also. But expectation is that she'll be there and work for some time.
Couple of years. And
Few years and all that. And in fact, many companies even have the system of arranged marriage within the company.
Wow.
Which is another way of fine, now she's married, please see to it that, she
takes care of
she
home.
leaves and, manages the family.
Yeah.
And I think that was a situation when I was there. Very few engineers there, very few career women there. So they were not necessarily seen as people and valued for their competence and capability. And I think, given that social conditioning, I believe women also didn't push that hard. Many of them were happy that okay. And also, like our culture, if you're the eldest son, eldest bahu is supposed to take care of
The
house and the parents.
Yes.
Correct? Child rearing is not easy. It's tough because you don't have help. So it was, I mean, Japanese women, I would say, are really, really hard pressed to manage the family at the same time if they are having the professional career. There's no discrimination which you can obviously see,
Right.
but you hardly see any women in the senior roles, which says that there is a unwritten bias.
Yes.
What I hear nowadays, that has changed.
Okay.
But it's changed in a manner which is not very good for society.
I see.
Majority of women do not want to marry
Oh.
because they believe that it's almost like, now you're married, you have a, kind of labeling.
Yes.
Oh, now you'll have kids and you'll do this, and also majority of them have decided not to marry. And I'm sure if you read some articles, people are having pets and
Yes.
things like that.
Lots
Even
and
in
lots.
India.
Yeah, even in India.
Now, coming back to India, so I think there wasn't much in terms of any discrimination or
Right.
harassment. It was none of that. But
It's just the
it's
design.
just like that the design
of
system
that.
is designed for a male-dominated workforce. In certain roles, obviously women will be there, hospitality industry and things like that. But in a corporate, you do not see many women at the senior. And I don't think much has changed
There.
even today. Now, as far as India is concerned, I think in India, there is no obvious bias. I mean, in our company, engineering, which used to be not a very women-friendly or women-liked field, you see a lot of girls.
Lot of
Yeah,
engineers.
absolutely.
And
now.
engineers now you see, I mean, when I went to IIT, we are around 250 of us. There are only 5 girls.
Girls, oh.
Today, I think a batch will have, if not 30%,
Right.
at least.
Which is a lot of progress.
A lot of progress. 20 to 30% girls are there. And when we hire, we actually go out of our way for
To present opportunities.
to present opportunity for women. We kind of provide them the benefits because being a woman comes with its own challenges. And from maternity leaves to other, I mean, we have created room for them here in case they need to relax and rest and things like that. So I think we, from that point of view, as a country, are very progressive when it comes to women in
At
workforce.
workplace. Yeah.
But the fundamental nature of being a woman does not change. They will be mothers, correct? Of course, systems should be geared towards creating opportunities where they can do all these roles as best as they can, while they also have because at some point of time kids will leave. Then what will happen? That's why a lot of people get into empty nester syndrome. Now I've given 18 years or 20 years of my life to just doing this. Now what I've done, most of the girls are educated, professionally educated. They feel that they have not made best of their lives. So that could be a very, I think, difficult feeling.
Yeah.
So I think if you are providing education, which our, I think, system is now providing well, you also need to create career opportunities and the conducive work environment. And I believe India is doing much better, I would say, compared with many countries.
So, RK, what I wanted to know from you is you've gone through difficult times, challenging workplaces, challenging countries. You've lived in Japan, learned the language. So there's a lot of stuff that you've gone through. What is the message you'll want to give to younger and new leaders on how to be resilient?
I think resilience is a state of mind which will come when you make some fundamental changes in your thought process. Essentially, you have to believe that change is the only constant. Correct?
Yeah.
And when you're able to start with that, then
Okay.
any new change will test you, but will not overwhelm you.
Okay.
And if you are hardworking, you are smart, you'll find a way through. And then resilience will be the outcome. Resilience is an outcome
Yes.
which comes by having these attributes.
Having gone through the situations
And
coming
many
out of them.
times when you have gone through a couple of times and you have come out on the other side, maybe better, you get confidence. So first, I think I define it as you have to have first thought process. You have to think. And thought process put into practice over a long term becomes belief.
Right, right.
Correct? Now, majority of the people do not think.
So the belief is not there.
Belief is not there.
That
And
I can
belief
do this.
cannot come just because you read somewhere
Yeah.
or some R.K. Mishra
Ki
told
believe
in
in
some
yourself.
You have to
podcast.
live through it.
No, some R.K. Mishra on podcast told, believe in yourself.
Yeah.
I think that doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
Only way you get belief when your thoughts put into practice,
yeah.
over a period of time, and you have managed to, not every time you will succeed, you have managed to live through them. Then becomes your DNA, and then you start believing in it. And then you said, oh, I can do it
I
next
can do
time.
this, yeah.
Next time onwards. So I think that's very conviction of beliefs.
Right.
Clarity of thought is where you start. You'll be very clear why you are doing it. If you don't do it, you'll not be doing it properly. So clarity of thought will lead to conviction of belief, which will eventually lead to success. Success doesn't mean primarily that you'll just make more money.
Yeah.
To me, success is a life well lived.
Right.
And to me, again, initially when you're early in career, you always talk about success. But when you reach our stage in life, which as I said, from
Success to-
grahast to
Oh, like-
brahmacharya to grahast, which is from learning to earning,
Earning.
to sharing.
Sharing and then-
now soon I'll be into giving stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
So then success is immaterial. Today, if you tell me, RK, you've been very successful. I don't think it's really, am I significant? The journey from success to significance is a natural progression from sharing to giving. Sharing is what I have accumulated as a knowledge, as my experiences, even my wealth. I'm happy to share. But then, when I reach the stage from sharing to giving, when people reach out to you, I think biggest success is when people reach out to you. Could be for advice, could be for help. I'm very happy if I have 20 people call me every day. RK, can you please do something?
Tell me.
Then I start feeling like, oh,
I'm
I
making a
am being
difference.
significant. I am able to make a difference to people's lives, their careers, their livelihood. So I think we all should aspire for that.
Yeah.
From journey, from success to significance is, I think, the most wonderful journey. And that leads to happiness. Success alone will not make you happy. Because success is what you define for yourself. Significance is what the others perceive about yourself. And we all look for that.
So I have a follow-up question on that, that you have been a leader, in multiple roles and at different stages of India's journey. Earlier, leadership style was very different, and now the leaders need to be different because of the changing environment. We are a very tech-heavy country also now. Is there some advice to these leaders who are in the new era that is different from some advice that you may have given to leaders back then?
I think we as a nation, we were usually very top-down earlier. The CEOs decided,
Yeah.
managers, implemented,
Correct.
and people below executed, correct? And our society is also very hierarchical, correct? In whatever format you see, there's some hierarchy exists somewhere. Managers were only managing, correct? Executives were only ordering. I think that was, and industries were very different. manufacturing. Manufacturing is a very hierarchical thing, correct? The shop floor to the manager to the
Right.
I saw very different in Japan. Japan is one of the best manufacturing industry. But manager and everybody, including CEO, had the same uniform,
Oh.
gray or blue color. Everybody ate in the same canteen. In India, you go to a manufacturing setup, any setup, go to car factory, except Maruti. Every there will be executive dining room, and there will be a mess or canteen.
Yes.
Japan never had it. That's why their manufacturing was excellent. Because first, anybody who produced was given most important because he's subject matter expert. Not because just I'm the CEO. No. And I'm with him, I'm learning from him. I think after India, this information age and tech driven and things like that, we are reaching there. In our office, there are no cabins. We don't have any cabin. We sit on the same desk as co-founders. Next to us will be sitting a 23-year-old. Correct? And we just eat in the same canteen. We do same thing, which essentially, actually, we are not doing any favor to anybody. It's a knowledge economy. It's a sharing. I don't know as much as they know.
Yeah.
The only way for me to learn so that I can do my job well is to interact with them. So
I
no
think-
walls.
Yeah. So I think the message would be one of collaboration.
Collaboration,
You
no
have
walls.
to collaborate.
Communicate,
Collaborate. Yes.
These are the two very, very important things. And don't create hierarchy. I mean, of course, you are a CEO. Nobody can make you a software engineer. You remain the CEO, but you have other responsibilities and challenges and things like that. But a software engineer should be able to reach you as he's able to reach anybody else.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of culture, for me, it came very naturally because I lived in Japan. No hierarchy. So, for me, it's like, so from day one, whichever companies I made, this is my fourth company, I never had, closed cabin culture or no VIP dining area and things like that. And I think that Indian traditional companies had, and I think still have. But, information technology economy, that's why Bangalore is very different from, say, any other city.
Yeah.
Bangalore is very much this.
Yes.
Go to Mumbai, the corporate offices, go to Delhi.
Very
everything
different.
Very different.
Okay, so RK, we'll wrap up the podcast by asking you some rapid fire questions. And Priyanka, you would like to ask the first one?
Sure, I'll go with the first one. So, if I were to ask you which country do you prefer, is it Japan or India?
In terms of work culture.
Yeah.
Well, India is my Janm Bhumi. Japan was my Karm Bhumi. And I think
Nice.
I learned India made me who I am. Japan gave me what I have. And I tried to combine both
Awesome answer. I loved it.
to get the
I
best
loved it.
of both.
Yes.
Both countries have a lot to offer.
Yeah. So you now, I believe, are mentoring so many people. Shikha is one of them. Have you had a mentor along the way in your journey?
First of all, I don't think I'm mentoring anybody. Certainly not mentoring Shikha.
Why not? You have spent a lot of time.
I don't know the concept of mentoring per se is in my mind. I just engage.
Yeah.
Right.
And if that somebody ends up learning something, I think I learn a lot.
Yeah. So who's that person who you think added a lot of value to your life and you learned a lot from?
I think, of course, I learned business from my Japanese boss who asked me to start up India operations because I was an entrepreneur. I didn't know business. Correct? I was a doer. I was not a manager.
Right.
So that he taught me a lot. Then most of the time, otherwise, I have to do self-learning because
Self-learning.
all my ventures were like I was lonely at the top. So I didn't even have co-founders. Here in this, because, Amit and everybody started, they wanted me to be part of it. So here it's like a different, but otherwise, it's been actually, quite self-learning.
One message for startups. Everyone is into startup. India is a country of startups now. So what is that one advice you would give startups?
I think don't do it just because it's cool.
Nice. Nice.
You got to believe in it. When we started Yulu, we wanted to solve the problem of congestion, first and last mile connectivity, and many companies started. And I was retired. I had no reason to be involved in it. Amit was very passionate about it. He reached out. I refused. He again reached out. But idea was so compelling. I've been trying to improve urban, India. Congestion,
It's a big problem.
biggest problem.
Yeah.
Now you have metro stations, but you can't reach metro stations.
Right.
And then you'll take car. Again, there'll be more congestion. So first and last mile connectivity. And now quick commerce delivery.
Yes.
In fact, Yulu is almost empowering the quick commerce delivery across the country.
Yes.
So if there is a cause, you will persist because startup is going to be tough.
It is.
There will be challenges every day. If you totally and completely don't believe in it, you will not be able to success and failure. I'm not even talking about it.
Yeah.
Because 9 out of 10 fail. correct?
Yes.
But just to go to office every day excited is the beginning. So you must do something only which you truly believe in it. And be ready to pivot.
Right.
Because what you started with
Yeah.
may not exactly, a lot of people get so wedded
Stuck
to the
with their
idea,
Yeah.
and they kind of become very emotional about it. No, because you are trying to provide a service or product to the market. Market is the boss.
Yeah.
So look what people want,
And pivot.
not what you thought.
Last, which you're not prepared for. You have to say something in Japanese for all of us Indians that can give a very good, hopeful message for growing India. And then translate it for our listeners as well.
Okay, so this is something which anytime you are planning to start something new, it is said in Japan.
Okay.
It's called Gambatte Kudasai,
Okay.
which essentially means please go work hard and make it happen.
Awesome.
Wow.
Thank you, RK, for coming on our podcast. We really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for watching Office Tales and People podcast with RK Misra and my co-host Priyanka.
Thank you very much, RK. I have had a thoroughly enjoying conversation with you and great learnings. Thank you so much for adding value to me. I'm sure you'll see a lot of value in this conversation that we've had today. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Office Tales and People podcast. See you in the next one.